Well, we welcome you back, and we are happy to have State Representative Steve Doyle joining us today, heading back to Madison to represent Wisconsin's 94th Assembly District. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's talk specifically about your race quickly before we get to some kind of bigger state stuff. You had a challenger this time, but again, we're able to pull out a win here. What are you hoping that you can accomplish now going forward?
The same as I have all along, which is to really try to work across the aisle, get things done in a bipartisan fashion. You know, I was able to do that with the first bill that I introduced, which was the Workforce Adjustment Training Grant Bill. This last session with the foster care bills, we passed 11 of them. So really proud to work across the aisle, get things done rather than taking shots at one side or the other. That's my goal for next time.
A really interesting thing has happened in the political sphere of the state in the overnight hours, and that is that Tony Evers was announced the winner of the gubernatorial election. How will that change what happens in Madison over the next 4 years?
Well, that's going to be interesting. You know, the two parties have really two options: fight with each other because you have split control of government, or get down and work together and try to accomplish things in a cooperative fashion. I'm not sure what to expect in that regard. I expect that Tony Evers will reach out and try to work with the Republicans who still control both houses of the legislature. Whether that will be reciprocated, I guess we'll see. I hope that it is, because we have a lot of things that both sides agreed need to be dealt with: education, healthcare, transportation. Everybody says we need to work on them. Well, now's our chance to do it together.
We knew the election was going to be close. Going into the polls showed that it would be close, but you never know with polls. How did you feel the Democrats' confidence was going into last night with Tony Evers?
I would say nervously optimistic.
Okay.
At best. I mean, talking to a number of my colleagues, some thought, oh yeah, we've got this one. Others thought, we've seen this act before, 2 years ago, in fact, with Hillary Clinton. And so they were less optimistic. But, I think most people thought that it was going to be close. It was going to go into the wee hours of the night, and so we were right on that.
Yeah, and it is trending nationally as well. A lot of people across the country watching what happened here in Wisconsin last night. I do want to shift gears because maybe not a lot of people know this about you, Steve, but you are a representative for the state. You were also on the La Crosse County Board.
That's right.
And a few things happened in the La Crosse County election yesterday, just questions that were asked. One of which is about transportation, and this is a frustrating thing for a lot of people. There needs to be some more done with transportation, but obviously the problem continues to be, where does the money come from? Right. What is your sort of thoughts about what happened with the gauge of public opinion last night as far as transportation?
Well, voters were very clear on that one in terms of what they thought. Overwhelmingly, voters in La Crosse County said, we have a problem with transportation and we need to do something about it. Overwhelmingly, they also said no wheel tax and no property tax increases, but they very strongly said that the premier resort area tax was something that they were interested in doing. Now, when we introduced that bill last session in the legislature, the committee chair refused to move the bill along, so I don't know if that will change this time. I guess we're going to find out. But the voters in La Crosse really sent a message that they're not satisfied with the condition of our roads.
We've got about 45 seconds left. I wanted to ask you about the other referendum that was on there last night, which is about marijuana. And that, were you surprised at how overwhelmingly that was sort of approved, a yes vote?
I thought that it might pass on a close vote. It was a lot stronger than I would have expected. In the city of La Crosse, I thought, sure, that might pass there. But in my district also, it was pretty comfortable victory for the pro-legalization group. So we'll see what happens. It's not a binding referendum.
Right, it's not binding.
Yeah.
We want to be clear.
Right.
This is not binding, but now it's just a matter of, let's see. I know several places across the state had this as a referendum, as a question, and we will just have to see. Pleasure to talk to you.
Same here.
Congratulations again to you, and it will be an interesting couple of years to watch here in the state.
That's an understatement.
That is an understatement.